December 12, 1942. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The package arrives wrapped in brown paper and twine, marked with stamps that smell like glue and distance. Eleanor Webb unties the knots with hands that remember every goodbye. Inside, a pocket watch, gold-plated case, Roman numerals, second hand that sweeps instead of ticks. On the back, an inscription worn smooth by 2 decades. To James, for time well spent. 1917, her husband's watch, the one he wore through the First War, through mud that swallowed men whole, through nights so cold the metal froze to his wrist. Now it belongs to her son. She winds it carefully. 30 turns, no more, no less, the way her husband taught her. A watch wound too tight, he once said, will break its own spring. The watch ticks. Perfect time. Borrowed time. Dear William, the watch arrived yesterday. I cried when I saw it, not because it's expensive, but because it was Father's, and now it's yours. He wore it through the First War, through battles whose names I still can't pronounce, through moments when time itself seemed to stop. The crystal is scratched. The leather strap smells like oil and old spice. When you wind it, it ticks like a heartbeat that refuses to quit. He said a watch is a promise, not of time given, but time borrowed. Wear it. Let it measure your days. And when this war is over, bring it home so it can count the hours we have left together. Your mother, Eleanor Webb. December 18, 1942. RAF Thurley, England. William Webb opens the package in a barracks that smells like cigarettes and anxiety. 23 years old, bombardier, 8th Air Force. His war is just beginning. The watch is heavier than he expected. He ties it to his wrist with paracord because the original strap is too fragile for what's coming. That night, he winds it. 30 turns. The ticking fills the silence between snores and prayers. The watch keeps perfect time. Every morning at 0600 it wakes him. Every night at 2200 he winds it. His father's rhythm, his father's promise. Dear Mother, the watch works better than I do. It never complains about the cold, never loses its way. Yesterday, during a mission over Wilhelmshaven, I checked it 14 times, not because I needed to know the hour, but because looking at it reminded me that time is still moving forward, even when everything else feels frozen. The other men have photographs, lucky coins, prayer cards. I have Father's watch. They ask me why I wear it on missions. I tell them it's lucky. The truth is simpler. If I don't come back, I want something of ours to survive. Your son, William. January 27, 1943. Mission briefing, 0530 hours. Target, submarine pens at Lorient, France. Expected resistance, heavy. Expected losses, acceptable. The watch reads 0547 when William climbs into the B-17. The metal is cold enough to burn skin. The crew chief shakes his hand and says, "Bring her back in one piece, Lieutenant." William nods. The watch ticks. At 6:12, engines roar to life. At 0634, wheels leave English soil. At 0718, the formation crosses the channel. The watch counts every second. Somewhere over occupied France, flak begins. Black clouds bloom in the sky like ink dropped in water. The bomber shakes. Men pray in 6 different accents. William checks the watch. 0804. He arms the bombs. The watch keeps ticking. They return at 12:20. Everyone survives. William winds the watch that night and thinks, Today, time was kind. Mother, we lost Jenkins yesterday. Tail gunner, 20 years old. He was talking about his girl back home, showed me her picture for the 100th time, and then the sky opened up and he was gone. No time to say goodbye, no time to be afraid. Just there, then not. I keep thinking, what if time had moved slower? What if we'd had one more minute to pull him out, to stop the bleeding, to say something that mattered? But time doesn't negotiate. It moves at the same speed whether you're falling or standing still. Father's watch kept ticking through all of it. I find that comforting and terrifying. February 16th, 1943. The mission that changes everything. Target, Bremen, 200 miles into Germany, the deepest they've flown. The watch reads 1022 when the first wave of fighters appears. Focke-Wulf 190s. 12 of them diving from the sun like falling angels. The sky becomes noise, cannon fire, machine guns, men screaming coordinates into radios that crackle with static and fear. William's hands are steady on the bomb sight. The watch is steady on his wrist. At 10:34, they drop their payload. 12 500-pound bombs fall in formation, whistling toward factories that will never make submarines again. The watch reads 10:35. At 10:35:37, everything stops. The 20-millimeter shell enters through the nose. It doesn't explode immediately. It punches through plexiglass, ricochets off the bomb sight frame, and detonates against the bulkhead 3 feet from William's head. Shrapnel moves faster than thought. William feels impact before pain. His left arm goes numb. His vision narrows to a tunnel. His ears ring with a frequency older than sound. He looks down. Blood. So much blood it doesn't seem real. And the watch, the crystal shattered, the case dented inward like a fist struck it, the second hand frozen mid-sweep. 10:35:37. Time has stopped. Dearest William, your father once told me that time is the only thing we can never get back. I think about that often now. The mail comes every day, and I wait for your letters like a clock waits for winding. When they arrive, I read them slowly. I make the words last. Because, once I finish, time moves forward again, and you are still far away. Please write when you can, even a postcard, even 3 words. I need to know time hasn't stopped. All my love, Mother. The medic's name is Danny Torres, 19 years old, from El Paso, Texas. His hands don't shake. He wraps William's arm in gauze that turns red before it's even tied. He injects morphine. He talks the whole time. About Texas, about his sisters, about a dog named Cisco. Because silence in a damaged bomber is the sound of drowning. You're gonna be fine, Lieutenant, Danny says. You hear me? Fine. William tries to nod. His vision swims. The watch is still on his wrist, held by paracord and dried blood. The hands frozen. The ticking gone. Time, William whispers. What's that, sir? What time is it? Danny checks his own watch. 1107, sir. We're almost home. But William's watch will never move again. It stopped at the exact moment shrapnel should have severed his arm. The case bent inward. The crystal shattered. The movement destroyed. But the shell hit the watch first. The metal absorbed the impact. The case deflected the trajectory. The watch bought him seconds. Enough seconds to live. They land at 11:46. The B-17 is more holes than metal. 3 engines running, hydraulic shot, landing gear deployed by hand crank. The crew stumbles out onto English grass, and some of them kneel, and some of them vomit, and some of them laugh because crying would take too much effort. William is carried to the medical tent on a stretcher. The watch is still on his wrist. A nurse tries to remove it. "No," William says. "Leave it." "Sir, we need to clean the wound." "Leave it." She looks at the shattered watch, at the dented case, at the hands frozen at 10:35:37. She understands. She cleans around it. "Mother, I'm writing this left-handed, so forgive the mess. The watch is broken. The doctors say my arm will heal, but the watch stopped at the exact moment I was hit. I know it sounds impossible, but I think it saved me. The shell that should have taken my arm hit the watch first. The case absorbed some of the impact. The metal bent instead of my bones breaking. Father's watch bought me time, literally. I'm being sent back to the States for recovery. I'll be home by April. The watch is coming with me. Your son, William." April 9th, 1943, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. William Webb steps off a train carrying a duffel bag and a Purple Heart. His left arm is in a sling. The watch is in his pocket, wrapped in a handkerchief stained with old blood. Eleanor is waiting on the platform. She doesn't run. She doesn't cry. She just holds him, carefully, like he's made of glass and borrowed time. Later, at the kitchen table, he unwraps the watch and places it between them. The crystal is gone. The case is dented like a tin can hit with a hammer. The hands frozen at 10:35:37. "It stopped," William says. Eleanor picks it up, turns it over, reads the inscription her husband received 26 years ago. "To James, for time well spent, 1917. "No," she says quietly. "It didn't stop. It just finished its job." William tries to have it repaired. 3 jewelers in Cedar Rapids say the same thing. The movement is destroyed, the case unrepairable, the parts too damaged. "Best to buy a new one, son," the 3rd jeweler says. William nods and walks out. He keeps the watch in his dresser drawer next to his Purple Heart and a stack of letters he can't bring himself to reread. "Dear William, your father wore that watch every day for 20 years, through the trenches, through the Depression. Through every hour he spent building this house, raising you, teaching you how to tie a tie and drive a car and be the kind of man who keeps his word. It stopped when it was supposed to. Don't mourn it. Honor it. Time isn't measured by ticking. It's measured by what we do with the hours we're given. You're home. You're alive. That watch did exactly what it was meant to do. Love, Mother." Years pass. William marries in 1947. A woman named Margaret who works at the library and laughs too loud at his jokes. They have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. He works at the post office. He never talks about the war unless asked. When he does, he keeps it short. But every year on February 16th, he opens the drawer and holds the watch. And every year, Margaret finds him there, and she doesn't ask questions. She just sits beside him, and the watch remains frozen at 10:35:37. In 1968, William's oldest son, James, turns 18. The draft is active. Vietnam is everywhere. James comes to his father and asks, "What do I do?" William doesn't answer right away. He goes to the drawer. He takes out the watch. He places it in his son's hand. "This belonged to your grandfather," William says. "It stopped a bullet meant for me." James stares at the broken watch, at the frozen hands, at the dented case. "I'm not giving it to you for luck," William continues. "I'm giving it to you so you remember that time doesn't wait. Every second you're alive is a second someone fought for. Don't waste it." James holds the watch like it's made of prayer and shrapnel. "Do I have to go?" he asks. "No," William says, "but you have to choose." "Dad, I'm writing from Fort Benning. Basic training starts Monday. I brought the watch. I don't wear it. I keep it in my locker, wrapped in a t-shirt. The guys ask why I carry a broken watch. I tell them it's a family thing. I don't tell them it stopped time once. Or that I'm hoping it teaches me how to keep moving forward. Thanks for giving it to me. I think I understand now. Your son, James." James Webb returns from Vietnam in 1970. He brings the watch back, unharmed, still frozen at 10:35:37. William takes it and sets it back in the drawer. "Did it help?" William asks. James thinks for a long time. "Yeah," he says finally. "It reminded me that even when time stops, you keep going." In 1998, William Webb dies at 79. Heart attack, quick, painless. At the funeral, his children find the watch in his dresser. They pass it around like a relic. Margaret holds it last. She winds the crown, even though everyone knows it won't work. But something shifts. A faint tick, then another. The second hand trembles. 10:35:38. 10:35:39. 10:35:40. The watchmaker they take it to is baffled. "This shouldn't work," he says, examining the movement under a magnifier. The mainspring was completely shattered, the balance wheel destroyed. But it does work. It keeps perfect time. Margaret wears it on a chain around her neck for the rest of her life. When she dies in 2014, the watch is buried with her, still ticking. "To whoever finds this watch belonged to my husband, William Webb. It stopped a bullet in 1943. It started again in 1998. I don't know how. I don't need to. Some things aren't meant to be explained. They're meant to be carried. Time doesn't stop for grief. It doesn't pause for love. But sometimes, if you're lucky, it leaves a mark, a scratch, a dent, a memory that proves you were here, that your time mattered." Margaret Webb, 2014. In 2024, a small museum in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, hosts an exhibit called Objects of War: Personal Stories from the Homefront. Among the uniforms and medals and faded photographs, there is a watch, gold-plated, Roman numerals, crystal missing, hands frozen at 10:35:37. The placard reads, "Pocket Watch, circa 1917. Worn by Lieutenant William Webb, 8th Air Force, 306th Bomb Group, damaged by shrapnel, February 16, 1943. Donated by the Webb family." Beside it, framed, is a single typed letter, Eleanor's letter, the one about promises and borrowed time. Visitors walk past it quickly. Children point and ask, "Why is it broken?" Their parents shrug and move on. But sometimes, very rarely, a veteran stops, and they stand there longer than they should, and they read every word of the letter, and they check their own watch just to make sure time is still moving. Dear William, if you're reading this, you've made it home. Time will keep moving. You'll grow older. You'll build a life. You'll forget the sound of engines. You'll forget the smell of smoke. You'll forget most of the faces, but you won't forget the watch, because the watch remembers for you. It holds the moment you were supposed to die and turned it into the moment you were allowed to live. That's not magic. That's love, wrapped in metal and leather and the refusal to let go. Wear it, wind it, pass it on. And when someone asks why you carry a broken watch, tell them, it's not broken. It's just measuring time differently now. All my love, Mother. February 16, 1943, 10:35:37. The moment time stopped. The moment a watch became more than metal. The moment a father's promise reached across years and war and shrapnel to save his son. Objects do not live, but they remember, and sometimes that's enough to stop a bullet, restart a heart, and prove that time, however broken, still moves forward. 1 second at a time.